Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Thursday, February the 10th. We got a 7-game slate on Thursday, and as always guys, we're going to talk through each one of these 7 games. We're going to break down each team, kind of give my early thoughts, what I do like taking a first look at this slate on Wednesday night. And then as we do go through each game, we will build out an early core. We'll talk about 5 players that specifically stand out to me on both DraftKings and on Yahoo. But I do want to mention that today is trade deadline day. There are going to be a lot of trades that go down during the afternoon on Thursday, so there are probably going to be players that are on this slate that get traded and obviously will get ruled out. So you're gonna have to pay attention to the news Thursday. There's gonna be a lot that changes from now until lock. There's probably gonna be a lot of guys that get traded, a lot of guys that won't be playing for their teams anymore. So there's probably gonna be this is gonna be a crazy slate. There's gonna be a lot of news. There's gonna be a lot of value. I'm going to break it down, just what I see the night before. But it's really tough to go fully deep into the slate because we're going to have to pay attention to, all the trades that go down Thursday. There's going to be a lot of them, I'm sure, and there's going to be a lot of them that probably impact today's slate. But again, we'll give a quick breakdown of, each game on this slate. But before we do, just hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you have not yet, go check out the sponsor of this video, PrizePicks. So PrizePicks, a newer DFS site more focused on player props, where you're just picking the over or the under on players' projections. You can take a look at their board for Thursday's NBA games. Take a look at what they have to offer. They have points projections, assists, rebounds, points, rebounds, assists, all added up together. They have three-pointers made. They also add fantasy point projections. They usually will get those posted, sometime Thursday morning. And again, you're just picking the over or the under. You have to make at least 2 picks, but you can make up to 5 picks. You can win up to 10 extra money on PrizePicks. They offer, a ton of other sports outside of NBA. So if you're someone that likes to, dabble into other sports outside of basketball, they offer NFL, NHL, PGA, college basketball, really any sport imaginable is on PrizePicks. And you can mix and match sports. You can win up to 10 extra money. Check them out, guys. Sign up, use code NOAH, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my code. But let's take a look at this slate. We'll start off with the Memphis and Detroit game and start off on the Grizzlies side. So looking at Memphis today, outside of Ja Morant, there isn't really a ton that I love from Memphis here. Ja Morant, at this point, I think is in play almost every single slate. He's just been so good. His usage has been massive lately. He's been taking a ton of shots. He's been playing big minutes as well. Last 2 games, his minutes have been down, but that has just been due to blowout. Could today's game against the Pistons blow out? It absolutely could, but I could still see Ja doing really well here, even if it gets ugly. Like, he could still put up 50-plus DraftKings points in only 3 quarters. But if this game, if it stays close, if Detroit can keep it close and we get 34, 35 minutes from Ja, against a Pistons team that's terrible, Ja should definitely be able to crush here. By far my favorite play from Memphis. He's really the only guy that stands out on this Grizzlies team. I don't see too much else I like on Memphis. So we can talk about the other side of this game and talk about Detroit. Detroit right now, they're just not a team I have much interest in. Cade Cunningham's once again questionable. I believe he's been out their last 2 games. If Cade does get ruled out, that makes a little bit of an impact, to make guys like Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant look more appealing. But these last few games, these guys really haven't been that good. Last game against Dallas, they got blown out. Sadiq Bey played 31 minutes, only had 20 DK points. I think at 6,400, Sadiq Bey would be viable if Cade sits. Same could be said for Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant's one of these guys that right now it seems like has a good chance to get traded. So there's a possibility that Jeremy Grant might not even play today. He might be on a different team by the time the day's over with. But for now, expecting Jeremy Grant to play, I'd have a little bit of interest in him if if Cade Cunningham does not play. But really, man, when it comes to Detroit, this is just not a team I really ever get excited about. Outside of Cade being questionable, they're pretty much fully healthy. They have all their guys. That we know Detroit's going to run a deep rotation. They're going to play a lot of guys. It's just not a team I really ever want to invest a lot of money in. So we can go ahead and move on to the next game, talk about Brooklyn and Washington. This is one that I like a lot, especially, I really think on both sides. Starting off with Brooklyn, no James Harden, no Kevin Durant, no LaMarcus Aldridge. With Harden and KD out, it's going to be the Kyrie show here. This is a road game for Brooklyn, so Kyrie is eligible to play. At 10,400, I think Kyrie looks like one of the best pay-up options on the slate. He's just been so good without Harden and without KD this year. His usage has been massive. He's going to play huge minutes if it's a close game. And right now, there's only a 1.5 point spread here, so Vegas is expecting a close game. I think this game does have one of the highest totals on the slate as well. In my opinion, Kyrie is the best pay-up option today. He's probably going to project out as one of the best pay-up options, and for good reason. We've seen, in that game against Denver when Harden and KD were out, Kyrie smashed, played 41 minutes, had 59 DraftKings points. Against Golden State earlier this year when Harden and KD were out, 39 minutes for Kyrie, 57 DraftKings points. He did have one game, I think it was the Utah game, that he really struggled in, but normally in these scenarios when there's no KD, when there's no Harden, Kyrie's just going to, get all the opportunity in the world. He's going to play big minutes. He's one of my favorite pay-up options on the slate. I like Kyrie a ton. I think you could definitely go to a guy like Patty Mills. He should benefit without Harden as well. I don't mind him at 5K. Nicholas Claxton's currently questionable. If he plays, I think he's viable. I'd expect he moves back in the starting lineup, so he would definitely be someone you could look to as a value. Pretty good matchup against the Wizards, who have really struggled at defending bigs this year. If Nicholas Claxton doesn't play, though, we would probably see Blake Griffin start at center again. The last 2 games, Blake Griffin has started at center. Against Boston, he was not good at all, but he was pretty good in that game against Denver. Played 30 minutes, had 29 DraftKings points, and only 4,400 in a pretty good matchup against the Wizards. If Claxton does not play and Griffin starts at center, I would have some interest in Blake Griffin as a value option at 4,400. James Johnson had been starting, but he went back to the bench last game. He played really well, though, off the bench. So maybe with how well James Johnson played last game, maybe they move him back in the starting lineup. We don't really know. If James Johnson does start again, or if he does wind up starting, I think at 4,200, he could be someone worth looking to for value. There's some question marks right now with Brooklyn. We're going to have to wait and see what the starting lineup is, but definitely can say that Kyrie Irving will probably be one of the best pay-up options on this slate. With no Harden, with no KD, I like Kyrie a ton here. And then on the Wizards side, so the Wizards as of late have just been a super frustrating team. They've been getting blown out. They've got blown out now in back-to-back games against Phoenix and against Miami. Well, now today, in a game with a 1-point spread, you would expect this game to stay close. Brooklyn, they've been terrible defensively, especially without KD, with all these other guys. Just as of late, they've been terrible defensively. They're not a good team without Harden and KD. I mean, Kyrie's a really good player, but he's not going to, just carry this team. They're not. I don't think we should really be worried about a blowout here. So I'm expecting this game to stay close. I'm expecting Kuzma to play his normal big minutes. I'm expecting Dinwiddie to get pretty good run. I think Kuzma and Dinwiddie both look really good here. I like both guys quite a bit. Dinwiddie's been really frustrating lately. If you've played Dinwiddie these last few slates, I feel for you. I've had a lot of interest in Dinwiddie, and it has not gone well. But in a revenge game against Brooklyn, and what should be a close game, and what is a really good matchup, I think Spencer Dinwiddie is a really good play here. I think his ownership, especially with how bad he's been lately, he's not going to get much ownership if I had to guess. I like Dinwiddie quite a bit. I've been on Dinwiddie lately. Again, it's not gone well. He's lost me a lot of money. But it's really hard to pass up on him in this really good matchup and what should be a close game. These guys should get their full minutes. I think Kuzma and Dinwiddie look like really good options. I like Dinwiddie quite a bit on both sides. $22 on Yahoo. I think you can definitely play Dinwiddie over there. Then the other guys like Montrezl Harrell is fine. Daniel Gafford's out right now, so you'll probably see the center minutes split between Harrell and Bryant. Bryant's really cheap. He has been starting lately. He just hasn't been that productive, though, so even though he's starting, he's not a guy that I have much interest in for value, even in a good matchup. Harrell, I think, is fine, but really Dinwiddie and Kuzma are the guys that stand out most from the Wizards today. And that's probably it from Washington. So next game, Miami and New Orleans. On Miami, there really isn't much I like from the Heat. Tyler Hero, he's probable, so he's expected back for this game. With Butler, Bam, Lowry, Hero all playing, none of these guys really stand out at their price points. Jimmy Butler always has upside. He can put up a good game any night. But at 9,300, I think he's kind of priced to where he should be, especially with the team fully healthy. Same could be said for Bam. Lowry and Hero, I don't really like that much at their price points. The value guys for Miami, I'm not really interested in with the team fully healthy. So, man, Miami, I think, you could sprinkle in some Jimmy. You could maybe sprinkle in some Bam. But this is not a team that I really have much interest in today. And on the New Orleans side, CJ McCollum is actually expected to make his debut for the Pelicans. With CJ McCollum expected to play today, I think CJ McCollum, him being on the team now, that's going to take away from guys like Brandon Ingram, Devontae Graham. So Ingram and Graham, I don't really have much interest in now that CJ McCollum's on the team. Jonas Valanciunas, I don't know if his role is going to change too much. It's a really tough matchup against Bam, but we know J-Val offers a lot of upside. He's been really, really bad lately. You look at the game log, it has not been pretty for J-Val as of late, but in this matchup, he should play a ton of minutes. They're going to want him out there defending Bam, I would think. 7,700, that's a pretty good price tag for J-Val. I think J-Val might be my favorite play from the Pelicans if I had to play anyone here. Jackson Hayes, he played big minutes last game. I believe he did start last game. They've been back and forth with Hayes in the starting lineup. I don't know what they're going to do today. I'd guess the starting lineup will probably be Hayes probably won't be in there because it'll probably be Devontae Graham, CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Herb Jones, and then J-Val. Like that, those will probably be the 5 starters. So my best guess is Jackson Hayes does not start. If he doesn't start, I don't have any interest in him at 5,600. And the rest of the Pelicans, I'm not really interested in either. I think it's just J-Val here that stands out. That's probably it. CJ making his debut. It's hard to really tell what his role is going to be on this Pelicans team. At 8,200, I'm fine just passing on CJ. So we can move on to the next game, talk about Toronto and Houston. Toronto, we know the deal with Toronto. The 5 starters are all going to play, big minutes if it's a close game. I will say that this is a back-to-back for Toronto, so pay attention to the injury report. I would expect that everyone plays for Toronto, but given that it's a matchup against Houston, a game they probably should be able to win pretty easily, we could maybe see, a guy rested here. But if everyone's playing, I think the 5 starters are all viable. Siakam, he's just been amazing as of lately. Siakam's just been so good. It's been now 4 straight games with at least 50 Draftkings points, 4 straight games where he's played at least 40 minutes as well. If we get 40 minutes from Siakam against the Rockets, I would not be surprised to see him put up 55, 60 fantasy points here. I think Siakam offers massive upside in this matchup. I think Fred VanVleet offers plenty of upside as well. Houston, they've been one of the fastest-paced teams this year. Defensively, they're not a team you should be worried about on the defensive end. It's a great spot for all these guys. I think VanVleet and Siakam are my 2 favorite. OG and Scotty Barnes, I don't love at their price points. I think Gary Trent, if he can get hot from the field, he always offers some upside. He's a very scoring-dependent player, but we know when he's hitting shots, he'll keep taking them. So, I don't mind him at 6,500. But definitely VanVleet and Siakam are the 2 guys that I really like from this Toronto team. And then on Houston, I don't see too much I really like on Houston here. Christian Wood at 8K, always viable. In games that do stay close, Christian Wood normally will play pretty big minutes. Toronto, I could see them maybe blowing out the Rockets here, but if this game does stay close and Christian Wood plays his full minutes, I could see him doing well at 8K. I don't mind him on this slate. Don't mind Kevin Porter Jr. either at 6K. Another guy that, if this game's close, Kevin Porter Jr. should play 35, 36 minutes. It's always a big risk rostering these Rockets guys just because they're such a bad team. They're going to get blown out a lot. But in games that do wind up, staying close, you can see Christian Wood do well. You can see Kevin Porter Jr. doing well. The rest of Houston, I'm not too excited about, but I do want to mention Şengün just because Şengün has been starting as of late, and we don't really have an update yet on the starting lineup for the Rockets. We're not going to get that until later in the day on Thursday. He has been starting though in place of Eric Gordon, and Eric Gordon is currently questionable. I think Eric Gordon's one of these guys that even if he's he might not even play for the Rockets Thursday because he might get traded. He's one of these guys that's been on the trade block. He's been mentioned in trade rumors and stuff. I think there's a very good chance that Eric Gordon is traded Thursday and probably won't even be on the team anymore. Even if he doesn't get traded, there's a good chance he doesn't even play anyway, because he's questionable right now. And just reading the little the player blurb on DK, it says that Gordon said Wednesday he's progressing in his recovery from plantar fasciitis, but he's unsure if he'll be available for Thursday's game. So right now, I think there's a pretty good chance that Eric Gordon doesn't play. And like I said, in the last few games that Eric Gordon has been out, they've been going big and starting Şengün alongside Christian Wood. If they start Şengün again at 4,800, I think Şengün's actually a pretty good play on the slate. We're gonna have to wait and see what other news we get as the day goes on. But right now, I do like Şengün as kind of a first look value. He's pretty cheap on Yahoo at the center position. He's only $11. We know Şengün's a really good point per minute player. His minutes have been good these last few games. In the games that he has started, he's played at least 25 minutes now in 4 straight games. We know Şengün is one of their young players. He's a guy that they want to develop. So he should be getting pretty good minutes moving forward in the rest of the season. And Şengün's another guy that even if this game does get ugly, I don't really care because he'll play in a blowout. I don't really worry about blowout when it comes to Şengün because he'll be out there even if the game's out of hand. At 4,800, I feel pretty good about him as a value play, especially if he does wind up starting again. If he doesn't start, then I'd probably be less interested. But for now, expecting Şengün to start again, I think he's a decent value play. I'm just kind of looking at this like the night before. But that's really it for the Rockets. I think we can move on to the next game, talk about the Clippers and the Mavs. The Clippers, they're not a team I really have much interest in. Norman Powell, his usage rate's been pretty high these last few games with the Clippers and the 2 games that he's played. His minutes have not been that good, but they've also got blown out in back-to-back games. I think Norman Powell at 6,800 is an okay option. Marcus Morris, Reggie Jackson, these guys always offer some upside if the Clippers can keep the game close and they play their full minutes. But this Clippers team, they're just so frustrating because they get blown out a lot. We see the rotations just be so out of whack. Even sometimes in games that stay close, Like they'll close with Terrence Mann and Amir Coffey. Like they'll play these guys over the starters. So the Clippers are one of my least favorite teams in the league. I hate their rotations. I hate I hate Ty Lue. Like the way Ty Lue runs his rotations just piss me off. So I just don't really want to invest in many Clippers today. Norman Powell, Marcus Morris, Reggie Jackson, like these guys are playable, but don't love much from the Clippers. On the Mavericks side, Luka I think is always in play, and especially with how well Luka has played as of late, he's just been so good. His usage has been massive. He's been playing massive minutes. He's been putting up triple doubles almost every night. He's been stuffing the stat sheet. The Clippers defensively are not a team we should be worried about at all. So I think this is a really good spot for Luka. Depending on how much value we get as the day goes on, depending on what kind of trades go down that open up value, this could be a slate that's just loaded with value. And if that's the case, I think Luka would definitely be a stud option I'd want to be trying to jam in with Kyrie if possible. Outside of Luka, there's not too much else I like on the Mavs. Jalen Brunson, his role is going to be pretty good without Porzingis and without THJ. He's going to play big minutes, but I think at 6,700, he's priced to a point now that he doesn't really stand out anymore. I think that can also be said for the rest of these Mavs. Luka is really the guy that stands out most from Dallas today, and that's probably it from this team. So next game, the Knicks and the Warriors. Looking at the Knicks today, pretty big news here with RJ Barrett currently doubtful. So RJ Barrett is not expected to play. I think with RJ Barrett doubtful, that's just going to make the workload even heavier for a guy like Julius Randle. I mean, RJ Barrett and Julius Randle are basically like the top two usage guys on the team right now. Without Derrick Rose and, basically with how the team is set up right now, it's just, a lot of Randle, a lot of Barrett. Now it's just going to be even more opportunity for Julius Randle. Matchup against the Warriors, normally not a spot you would look to attack, but I think without Draymond Green, like this team defensively is not as good. I think it's a sneaky good spot for Julius Randle. If the Knicks can keep this game close, I think Julius Randle does offer a lot of upside. At 9,100, I actually like him quite a bit on this slate. And I think on Yahoo, Julius Randle stands out as a really good player over there. He's only $33 at power forward. Really like Julius Randle on Yahoo. Again, expecting a heavy role for him with RJ Barrett doubtful. The last few games, Julius Randle has been really good. He's been playing big minutes, 37, 41, 38, 34 minutes. Been producing at a high rate as well. 45 DraftKings points in 4 straight games. 9,100, I'm fine going to Randle on this slate. I do like him quite a bit today, especially with Barrett doubtful. I think Barrett being doubtful should open up some more opportunity for guys like Evan Fournier, Alec Burks, so they're viable. But definitely the value play I think that's going to really stand out is Cam Reddish. So we don't really know yet who's going to start in place of RJ Barrett. I think the most likely scenario is they either start Alec Burks or Cam Reddish. They could maybe start Emmanuel quickly, but I think Cam Reddish is probably going to be the guy that starts in place of RJ Barrett. Cam Reddish so far with the Knicks really hasn't been used much. He really hasn't been playing many minutes, but the last few games, they've been getting him more minutes. I'm pretty sure he's been RJ Barrett's just direct backup. So at 3,600, expecting Cam Reddish to start in place of RJ Barrett, he looks like one of the best punt values on this slate just as of now. 3,600 on DK, he's really cheap. He's minimum salary on Yahoo, so I think I think Cam Reddish looks like a really good value play on Yahoo as well. We'll have to pay attention to the Knicks starting lineup. That could definitely change some things. If they start, Burks or quickly, then obviously I would like those guys, if they start. But I'm expecting Reddish to start, and that's going to make him a pretty good value play on both sides. Cam Reddish normally, when he does get minutes, he can be pretty productive. Just dating back to all the time that he was on Atlanta. When he was on Atlanta, he was around a 0.8, 0.9 fantasy point per minute player. He should play pretty good minutes if he does start, and at 3,600, he's going to project out as one of the better value plays today. So I definitely like Cam Reddish, definitely like Julius Randle. The rest of the Knicks, I'm not too excited about. I think that's really it for this team. And then on the Warriors side, so this is a back-to-back for the Warriors. We're going to have to pay attention to the injury report. Golden State on back-to-backs lately has been doing some crazy stuff. Like, last time they were on a back-to-back, they rested like the entire team. I don't think they're going to do that today, especially because they did get blown out on Wednesday. So, like, the starters didn't even play their full minutes. If Steph Curry is able to, if he plays here on the back-to-back, Steph is always a viable option. I don't think on this slate he stands out. Like, I think I'd rather go to Luka, Kyrie Irving, those guys we've already talked about. But Steph always offers a big ceiling. The only issue with Steph is that he does have a very low floor just because he is a really scoring-dependent player. And in games where he's not hitting shots, he's just not going to, produce because he's not really going to do anything else. But at 10-5, like, I don't mind Steph. Klay Thompson rested on Wednesday, but he should be able to play Thursday. Klay's minutes have been creeping up lately, but the price tag's also going up as well. So even though Klay is getting more minutes now, like he's getting around 30 minutes, 6,500, I think he's priced where he should be. Andrew Wiggins, I don't really like at 6,400. The rest of the Warriors, I'm not too high on either. Like Poole, especially with Clay back, I don't really have any interest in Poole. Otto Porter, don't really have any interest in. Looney, like none of these guys really stand out for me from Golden State. I think that's probably it from the Warriors. So we can talk about the last game of the night, the Bucks and the Suns. This should be a really, really good game to watch. This is definitely one of the more exciting games on this slate. On Milwaukee, I think Giannis on this slate definitely stands out as a strong pay-up option. Not the best spot against Phoenix. Phoenix is obviously a very good defensive team, but I think these are the type of games that you want to target Giannis in. You want to target Giannis in these big-time games, like we saw against the Lakers on a couple days ago. Like Giannis had a huge game, national TV against the Lakers. Like it just seems like he always plays well in these big-time games, these national TV games. I think in this type of matchup against a good Suns team, like they're going to need Giannis out there for his full minutes. This is a game that should stay close, so we get 35, 36 minutes from Giannis. And obviously the dude's an incredible point-per-minute player. He's going to stuff the stat sheet when he's on the floor. Phoenix is a good defensive team, but they're not going to be able to stop Giannis straight up. So I think Giannis at 12K, right up there with Luka and Kyrie in terms of my favorite pay-up options today. Julius Randle, I like as well. The rest of Milwaukee, like Drew and Middleton, don't have a ton of interest in them at their price points. Same could be said for Bobby Portis. It's really just Giannis that stands out here from this Bucks team. And then on the Phoenix side, I think Chris Paul and Devin Booker are both pretty solid options here as well. In this big-time game, I think you're going to see big minutes from Chris Paul and Devin Booker. I think both these guys play close to 40 minutes. We saw Chris Paul played 42 minutes last game in regulation. Like Chris Paul's minutes have just been absurd as of late. He's been playing huge minutes. He should get big-time run against this good Bucks team. They're going to need him out there as much as possible. Same could be said for Devin Booker. I think Devin Booker plays close to, if not over 40 minutes today in an 8,900. I mean, Devin Booker is definitely someone we can look to on the slate as well. I think both Paul and Booker look like really good options. The rest of Phoenix, like Ayton and Bridges and Crowder, these guys don't really stand out. Ayton, his minutes have not been that good as of late. Bridges, he's been playing big minutes, but I think at 6,100, Bridges is priced to a point where, he's not a guy that really is someone I'm prioritizing. That's really it from Phoenix. I think this game in general, I'm really just trying to focus on the stars here. So Giannis, CP3, Booker, those are the guys that I really want to be loading up on in this game. But that's it for this last game, and that's it for these 7 games on Thursday night. So I hope you guys did enjoy this quick little breakdown. Hopefully it did help. Again, trade deadline is on Thursday, so there's probably going to be a lot of trades that go on Thursday afternoon that we'll have to pay attention to. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of trades that impact today's slate. So that'll be something to monitor. We'll talk more about that in the live stream on Thursday. I will be live on my YouTube channel an hour before lock. If you guys do want to come and tune into the stream, it's usually a Q&A based stream, so you come and ask questions. I can answer all you guys' questions, whether it's lineup specific questions, whatever, life questions, food questions, it doesn't even matter. It's just a chill Q&A stream. We talk through the slate, usually are live for around 30 minutes. So if you are able to tune in, definitely tune into the stream around 6 Eastern. I'll be live on my channel or on my YouTube channel, breaking down the slate once again with you guys and answering all your questions. But that's it, guys. Best of luck on the slate. Appreciate you watching. Hope you guys did enjoy the video. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.